Hello, everyone, and welcome to another one of my reading and writing diaries. Hold on, I just have to start my stopwatch. Yes, today is, I believe it's August 10th. Is that correct? It is August 10th, Sunday, August 10th. And this is volume 21. And yes, it has been a little bit of time since I last recorded one of these videos. I did one 2 weeks ago, and I did not do one last week. I had quite a bit of things happening last weekend, so I didn't get a chance to do a video. I also hadn't written anything at all, really. The last time I counted, I've written about 152 words or something like that. And so in some ways I was like, what am I going to talk about, because I haven't actually done anything. So I decided not to do one, and I did one this week. I still didn't write a lot. I didn't write anything during the week. So what ended up happening was that today I tried to write some more, and I actually wrote, my total now is 36,974, and so that's a total of actually 650 words, so not a lot at all, particularly since it was 2 weeks. But some of that was actually, I wrote more, and then I cut out a bunch, and I actually wrote beyond, so I covered some of the parts that I covered the amount of words that I took out, which is about 700, and then I wrote some more. So it's probably closer to like 1,500 that I wrote. But in total, in terms of my total word count, it only went up 650 words. So yeah, I've been struggling a lot, struggling to find time. I mean, in some ways, I probably had more time this week. I had some issues that made it more difficult to write. Um, but yeah, I did have more time, so I can't really complain about the time amount. I was not feeling inspired. I was feeling very much that what I've been writing is not the right track, and that I'm on the wrong track, and I really did need to find a new source of inspiration. And I don't know if I really did find it today, but what helped me actually was, at one point today I did a video, not one of my video diaries, but I actually did a video of me just talking through my thought processes of what I was stuck at, and that kind of helped me actually. Um, I don't really know why. Maybe just because I was verbalizing out loud what I was thinking instead of just thinking it, and sometimes you don't progress any further because you're thinking about it and not actually kind of saying it or getting through it. So there was that. That video helped me. I don't think I'm going to post it because it's actually probably kind of boring. There's periods where I'm just like staring off into space thinking. But I think it might be helpful for me to like actually look again at it, and to do more of these videos. I've actually been intending to, I was actually thinking of trying to write through a video, like actually saying what one of my characters would say, and just kind of capturing it through the video, and then using, like, typing it up or using YouTube's transcribe function to kind of capture it. But I actually noticed that YouTube's transcription functions are really terrible. Like, if you look at them, it's like gibberish. I mean, it could almost be poetic that it's so terrible at capturing what you're actually saying. But it doesn't really work for my purposes, which is that I want to kind of capture what I'm actually saying, and capture the flow. And if I'm going to be doing transcribing for videos, it might be kind of boring and more difficult and more challenging than I'm actually. It may not actually help me. So there's that. I've really struggled with this character's voice. I mean, I did do some more research on, like, I was listening to uh, some people whose first language is not English, it's French, and what kind of mistakes they make. And to be honest, the mistakes were kind of the obvious ones that I already know, having taught English to people whose first language is not English. They make a lot of preposition errors. They tend to use the word that a lot, because they don't, because it's kind of the most easiest, it's kind of an easy conjunction, or yeah, conjunction to use. And I think they're probably translating que as that all the time. And then just some like verb tense issues and things like that. So it didn't really give me a lot of help in figuring out how I was going to create this voice for this character. And to be honest, like I don't want it to turn it into like a English for beginners kind of thing where you're kind of groaning at how, oh, this person doesn't speak English. I just want to, I want it to be subtle, and I don't think I have enough grasp of it. And I think too, I guess my other issue is that I really want to be able to think deeply about my novel, and I find that, and come up with new ways to overcome the challenges that I'm having. Like the video was one way to help me get through a period, and there's probably other ways that I could be doing it, but I just don't have a lot of sustained time to think about the novel. And I think I talked about this in a previous video where like the writing, can be mechanical, but sometimes I just need time to think about it. I don't have it. And there's always the problem too that I'm constantly thinking of ideas for other things or like other writing projects, and the thoughts are not really going towards my novel, which in some ways is fine because I don't want to be distracted by all these new ideas and kind of completely change what my idea is for my novel. But at the same time, I kind of have to think, interesting and new ideas. And I don't know. I'm definitely in the middle here. I need to get out more words, and getting through this period is tough, but I just have to do it. So anyway, I don't think I have really any amazing insights in this video about how to get past this. I'm looking forward to, towards the end of the summer, I'm going to have less work to do for my work. But I also have like so many other things in my life that I need to get organized in this end of this month. I want to revise some stories and send them out by the fall. So, it's the same old story. It doesn't change, like it's constantly just everything, and I have to figure out a way to work it. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. In terms of my reading, I finished Summertime, the Coetzee, and I can definitely say that it was not my favorite book. I just didn't know. I felt it kind of lacked in a lot of ways, and I can't really say anything beyond that except like, he's just, what I expect is so much more from him than from another novelist, because his other books have affected me so profoundly. And this one just didn't. It felt very messy. It didn't feel very like it came together at the end. I will say, though, that at one point there was one section of it that did really inspire me and actually kind of made me think of writing a new short story, and that is there was one point where he describes his father, who was not a very intellectual person, became interested in Italian opera, and he used to buy these Italian opera LPs. And Coetzee, who was more of the intellectual, was really into Bach and German music. So there was these Italian operas and German music, and apparently they used to kind of compete in the house. And then one day, Coetzee couldn't take it anymore. He was a teenager, and he was really mean and basically ran a key or something across one of the Italian LPs. And his father's music was destroyed, and his father never really figured out what happened or why this happened. He just thought the LP was destroyed accidentally, and he gradually stopped listening to Italian opera. And And so Coetzee kind of won. But then later in life, he began to regret this. Like, it's kind of horrible what he did. And he tried to make up for it by looking for a replacement LP for his father. And he never did actually find the exact LP. It just seemed to have vanished, the particular one. So he found something that was similar, and he played it for his father. And he said, "Oh, do you remember this?" And his father actually was like, "Oh, no, I don't actually remember this. And, it doesn't really mean anything to me." And that, of course, is like the worst, such a terrible thing, um, that he had so effectively destroyed his father's love of art that it had vanished from his head. And I mean, that's a terrible burden to particularly if you love art, to have crushed someone else's love of art so much that they just don't even remember it. And then, of course, the whole irony is that as Coetzee himself was listening to these Italian operas, he was like, wait a minute, I love them. Why for so many years did I hate them and think that German, the German music that I was listening to was superior? It's clear that both have their own beauty to them. And so in some ways he won, but then his father won because he began to love the Italian music. So it was kind of an interesting, beautiful um, little story about art and art appreciation and all that, and the crimes that we commit against our family members out of jealousy and competition. And it inspired me, particularly that act of putting, scratching a record. I'm always drawn to actions which have kind of an iconic weight to them, and like destroying a record and then letting someone play it and then it being just effectively destroyed, like that subtle destruction where you don't actually destroy it, you just make it incapable of producing the music that it did. That sort of thing I find kind of, that sort of just the fact that one motion of him striking the record has such a powerful impact on their entire lives together. Like in just that one action completely changed their relationship in many ways. So, I mean, that was really interesting. And it made me think about how, when we were teenagers, we often get into these places where we do these kind of beautiful actions that are against art, that like are destructive towards art, but that in their own way are kind of romantic and beautiful. And that is the kind of attraction to them, is that they that by saying no to art, we're somehow reaffirming its power. And it made me think too of the opening scene of Vanity Fair, when Becky Sharp is leaving the school that she has been at, where she's been kind of like treated poorly because she's working class and everyone else is upper class. And she's driving away and she takes Samuel Johnson's dictionary and she throws it out the window back at the women who are teaching her. And I mean, this has such a poignant meaning. There's this whole idea of, this is Samuel Johnson's dictionary was like a pillar of 18th century learning, and she is an emblem of the coming middle classes and their rise, and how they're going to upset this whole previous order from the 18th century, and they're going to change the way the 19th century works, and that it is going to be about ambition, and that is kind of Becky Sharp's kind of strength, is that she's this very ambitious person who will keep going no matter what. So once again, it's tied in with that feeling of there is a certain power in 18th century, in teenagers destroying art or showing their aggression towards art, can almost be a beautiful and powerful and artistic moment. So I became interested in that idea of, those times when I've destroyed things and felt like artistic things or showed a casualness to art, and that in itself is kind of beautiful. And so I've begun thinking about what I would do, like a story that I would write about that. Um, I mean, it's all very kind of hazy in my head, but I am thinking I'm probably going to write one. Who knows? Of course, these things always change. But yeah, that's what I've been thinking about from that book. Not the most amazing book, but you can probably always take something from something. At least that's how I feel about things. Um, and as for my next book, I don't know what I'm going to read really, but I've decided that this might be the next one. I just bought it, Our Lady of the Flowers, Jean Genet. I've actually started reading this a few years ago, and the ceiling at the house that I was at fell apart, and water poured in and destroyed this book, so I had to throw it out. So I'm going to try to read it again. I remember it being hard because it's not very narratively driven, but his language is very beautiful, and you know what? I want some beautiful language in my life, and we will read some Jean Genet, or at least that's what I think I'm going to do. Anyway, I have blathered on way too long, and so I should probably wrap this up. I do have to go grocery shopping. So I'm going to end this now, and I'm going to remind you that once again, I always love questions or comments. So please leave a question or a comment or whatever in the comments of this YouTube video, or you can send me an email to the email address in the comment box. Either way, I encourage you, please do so. Otherwise, I will hopefully see you in a week and not in 2 weeks, and I will hopefully have written a substantial amount. Let's go, Matthew. You can do it. Otherwise, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Oh, I did press the wrong button. See ya. Bye-bye.